What's up, guys? Ian here, coach of your Ladner Lanturn, bringing you guys a Week 10 team builder taking on Shiny Spam and the Flint Tropius. This is a really important battle, so I'm probably going to go a little bit more in depth on what my plan is and what playoffs is looking like and sort of my idea on how to win this game. If I win this game, then Shiny will not make playoffs and I will make playoffs. If I lose this game, Shiny still has a chance to make playoffs and I have a chance to not make playoffs. There's a ton of different situations, but let me run through the team and then I'll touch on playoffs at the end. So Shiny's team consists of Kyurem Black, Z, Mega Diancie, Zapdos, Bronzong, Buzzwole, Alomomola, Salazzle, Donphan, Serena, and Z Barbaracle. This looks like a very me team, honestly. This is like a lot of the basic cores that I like to use. Currently in NCL, I have Mega Diancie, Bronzong, and Buzzwole all together. I've used Kyurem Black and Zapdos together before. On my last season of Red, that team had Buzzwole, Salazzle, and Donphan all together, and Alomomola at one point actually too. So there's a lot of this team that I've used before. I think the only Mon that I've never used before on this team is Barbaracle, and I've never really played against Barbaracle all that much. I don't prep for it super duper well normally, but I've got a lot of knowledge about what his team can do, and I think that's going to help me out a lot here. In terms of priority users, he's only got the Donphan with Ice Shard. He's got priority blocking though with the Serena. My team in itself, I don't think actually has any priority users except for Entei. Serena doesn't really want to switch on Entei anyways, just kind of a nice thing if you wanted to switch it in on extreme speed when I was trying to pick something low off later. Hazard setters, he's got the Diancie with rocks, Bronzong with rocks, Donphan with rocks, and Barbaracle with rocks. So no variance there, just all rock setters. And I'm not bringing my rocks weakness this week in the Entei, so should be fine there. I'm not actually bringing Defog on Rotom, but I am bringing Defog, or Rotom, I mean. Removal-wise, he's got the Zapdos with Defog, Donphan with Rapid Spin, and Serena with Rapid Spin. I don't have a Ghost type to block, to spin block at all, and if I'm wasting a turn with the Zapdos clicking Defog, I'm also okay with that, especially based on my plan this week. 4 times weaknesses. He's got the Diancie, 4 times weak to Steel. I'm covering that with Mega Aggron, as you can see on the screen. Buzzwole to Flying, which I am covering, I believe, actually with my Rotom-Mow. Salazzle to Ground, which I actually don't think I'm covering. And Barbaracle to Grass, which I was originally covering. Oh no, you know what? I'm not covering the Flying anymore, but I am covering the Grass. Because Grass does a little bit better against his team anyways, against things like the Diancie, the Alomomola, and the Donphan. He's got some Grass resist on his team, like Zapdos, Kyurem Black, Bronzong, Serena, Salazzle, Buzzwole, but it's worthwhile to have pack Leaf Storm this week. So yeah, let's run through my team then. Actually, I'll talk about what I'm not expecting. I don't really expect the Serena to show up. I think mainly because of Entei, and it's just a really hard way for him to get momentum. It's just Serena's in that range where I'm like not sure if it's going to come. It definitely could show up, right? I've got double water. It could show up to deal with double water, especially defensive Suicune, something along those lines. But if he gets burnt with the Serena, he's not in for a good time. There's just, he can only bring 6, and I'm not sure what he's going to leave on the bench. I really think that Kyurem Black's coming. I think that Mega Diancie's coming. I don't think he gives a fuck about Mega Aggron, and he'll bring Diancie anyways. I think Zapdos is coming to deal with Suicune, my double water. I think Buzzwole is coming to deal with the Mega Aggron. Those 4, I think, are 100% guaranteed. I think Bronzong is potentially his Garchomp switch-in, which otherwise kind of doesn't really exist. And then from there, it's kind of split between Aloe, Salazzle, Donphan, Serena, and Barbaracle. He can really only afford to bring one of those, so basically what I'm saying is I think he's bringing his top 5, and then one of the bottom 5. Yeah, one of the bottom 5. I'm not sure what it's going to be. I'm not entirely sold that it's necessarily going to be anything. I think Donphan is fairly unlikely against my team, actually. It doesn't really have a good matchup against me, and the only thing it would do is get up rocks. He could definitely want to bring Salazzle as a Clefable check. That could be an option, but then he's really left with only Zapdos as a Suicune check. So he's kind of got a rough matchup here, if I'm being honest. I think I've got a pretty good matchup against his team, despite all of his offense. I think that my defense matches up well against his offense. He just doesn't have the sheer breaking power that is necessary to break through my recovery mons necessarily either. So that's sort of the direction I'm going this week. I'm going to work my way from the supporting cast up to the stars. So Clefable and Reuniclus are the stars this week. and so we're going to start with Mega Aggron. So Mega Aggron's got the Iron Head there. I just wanted some way to hit the Diancie, and at least something to hit the Bronzong if I have to. I don't really care about him getting up rocks, but if I get up rocks, that's really good for me. You know, I don't necessarily threaten out the Diancie. I'm not able to get up rocks necessarily for free on the Diancie, is what I should say. Obviously, I wouldn't want them bounced back necessarily either, but he's in a shit position against my Aggron, and he can't run Modest, which is great. He has to run Timid for Keldeo and Garchomp. I'm not sure that necessarily puts him in a position where a Calm Mindset can beat me. Calm Mind Diancie is definitely a big problem against my team with like Earth Power Moonblast. That's probably all he needs, honestly. He doesn't really need rock coverage against me. So that would kind of like blow through me, and so we'll see if he runs that like sub Calm Mind set or not, but Iron Head should be able to deal with it. Iron Head does more damage to Kyurem Black than Heavy Slam will, because Kyurem Black is also very heavy, and so if I need to take hits from Kyurem Black, I can do that. I've got Roar on there just in case the Buzzwole gets out of control, or the Barbaracle gets out of control, or for some reason he's a setup variant of Zapdos, I guess. Salazzle kind of threatens me out and whatnot, but I've got Toxic there for the Alomomola, for the Donphan, the Serena, the Zapdos. I mean, I'd really love to just Toxic anything that's not a physical attacker, and I'll just Scald Burn everything that is a physical attacker, except for the Barbaracle. I'd love to Toxic that as well, get it on a timer. I'm running a little bit of speed on here just for a no-speed Donphan. This is like the third variant of the team, third or fourth, and on one of them I had Jolly Aggron running enough speed for no speed Alomomola, but the odds of him running sub Alomomola I feel are pretty low, and if he does run sub Alomomola I can just roar it out, so super safe there. Just Spit F, I don't know, be able to take a Mega Diancie hit better, be able to take an Earth Power from Kyurem Black better. I already take Dragon Claws pretty decently. You know, if he wants to click Fusion Bolt, I've still got a really high defense stat. Iron Head should be able to deal with it pretty effectively. Rotom-Mow's next. This was actually originally a Z set, Grassy MZ, just as a gigantic nuke for the Donphan one and switch in. You know, maybe it takes Rock's Chip and then I can Grass Z it and kill it. Or the Barbaracle, just miss a Leaf Storm. That was kind of the main idea there. Besides that, it was maybe a nice nuke to just get rid of the Alomomola, but in all honesty, Alomomola would be really nice to see, and it would be really nice as setup fodder for a lot of the Mons that I'm bringing here, especially the Reuniclus, but also for my Suicune and my Keldeo. So, Volt Switch, Leaf Storm, just dual stab, pretty standard stuff there. You know, I've got screens as well, so Reflect and Light Screen. I have no doubt that he's going to bring Heat Wave Zapdos. I should be outspeeding. I'm outspeeding Buzzwole with this Rotom, so I should definitely be outspeeding Zapdos. I don't really care all that much if I give up a Beast Boost to the Buzzwole, as long as I can get up a Reflect. Because at that point, you know, if he's clicking Leech Life and I'm behind a Reflect, then maybe Suicune can deal with it. I don't really care if he's +1 at that stage, because I can get a Scald Burn and whatnot, so there's a lot that might go in my favor. If he wants to run Sub-Punch, like Sub-Focus Punch, then I'm probably in a much worse position, but I am also bringing Unaware Clefable, and I'll get to that later, so I won't care about his Beast Boosts. Yeah, I'd like to get up screens, and then start setting up with something that can just win. Ideally, Reuniclus, which is at the end there. Reuniclus is a fantastic win condition against his team, especially if I can set up to +6. That would be absolutely incredible, and so the Light Clay with screens will really help there. Again, if he's relying on Zapdos with Defog, I'm wasting a turn by him defogging away my screens, and I get to have a free turn set up, so that's fantastic. Next up, Suicune. I'm a little bit invested. I didn't change the EV spread here from when I was running HP Flying, and it was meant to be able to... I believe one-shot the Buzzwole. I believe it was one-shot the Buzzwole, so that's fine. Suicune, Calm Mind, Rest, Sleep Talk, Scald. I have not brought Crocoon this entire season, and so this is the first time I'll be bringing a Crocoon set, and I think that it matches up well. I wanted to bring it against the Tapu Koko team, against David. It looked really good against David in Week 8, but Koko prevented me from clicking Rest, so I couldn't do that. So instead, I'm bringing it here. I think it's got a solid matchup. You know, Serena is likely the only thing that can break me. And if, or maybe Kyurem Black, I should not be two-shot by Fusion Bolt from Kyurem Black if he's Jolly, which I would imagine he is for Rotom-Mow. Who knows? But yeah, so I shouldn't be two-shot by any physical moves with this investment. And after a Calm Mind, I should be able to start living special moves fairly easily as well. Suicune isn't meant to necessarily win the whole game, but it definitely can. The idea behind this Coon set is that I can kind of set up for free against a lot of stuff, and then rest off a Toxic later. Its main goal is to waste resources that might be key in taking down a Reuniclus later. So if I can weaken something like a Kyurem Black, or kill a Kyurem Black with the Suicune, or burn a Kyurem Black with the Suicune, make it easier for my Reuniclus to set up later, burn a Buzzwole, same sort of thing, burn a Serena, which might knock off or U-turn my my little Reuniclus there, or weaken a Zapdos, which might make it harder for me later. That's kind of the idea behind the Suicune. I don't see any world where Salazzle is the play to bring it on Suicune, so Salazzle is definitely still going to be a threat against something like a Reuniclus or a Clefable later. But yeah, if I can get this Suicune rolling, then I can it sort of functions more as a breaker, and I know it's not really a breaker set, but it can kind of function in that direction. This is definitely my best check to Barbaracle as well. I calced it behind Reflect, +6 Adamant Continental Crush is a roll to kill me. And that's Continental Crush on Stone Edge from Barbaracle. Is a roll to kill this Suicune set. It's a 50-50 if I'm at full health. If I can get a Scald Burn on the Barbaracle, that'd be incredible as well. Just any way that this Suicune can put in work, I'm hoping it can. Even if I have to pressure stall some shit, then that's fine as well. I just want it to be a big, gigantic nuisance for him, and so that my supporting cast can sort of work around that. I am bringing a Subcombine Scald Secret Sword Keldeo, yes! And you'll actually see with the next two, I'm actually bringing 4 Combine Setup Sweepers this week. The idea is just put as much pressure on with all of my setup as I possibly can, and go absolutely ham. What's the most important thing about this game is pulling a win out. That would be huge. If I can pull a win out, I guaranteed make playoffs. If I lose, I need to pull as much fucking differential out of this game as I can. And so that's kind of the idea behind Setup Sweepers as well, is that I can do that, in theory. This Keldeo, it struggles against some of his offense, right? It very, very much struggles against mons like Kyurem Black, Mega Diancie, and Zapdos. They all kind of offensively threaten the Keldeo out. But if I can sub up against something like Bronzong with no Psychic Stab, Alomomola for free, realistically, Donphan in most cases, or even just get up a Calm Mind, I just really didn't feel like there was a better option besides sub there. I didn't really need any hidden powers or anything like that, because Scald plus Secret Sword is really good coverage against this whole team. So if I can get that going, then that's fine. I guess the main idea behind sub is that I don't get toxicked by the Alomomola, because this is kind of the only mon. Well, Clefable now too, now that I've changed the set. But this is one of my only setup sweepers that would mind a toxic. So I am trying to go a little bit ham with the Keldeo here. Get at least one kill, sort of break, poke a hole for Clefable maybe in the mid game. I wouldn't be surprised if I just get Keldeo in early game and sort of start breaking holes with it, because I can put myself in that situation. The Diancie is definitely a problem. Zapdos is very much potentially a problem. But if he's switching those in, then maybe it gets me a free Calm Mind boost, and I can kind of just fire off an attack. And if they kill me, not the end of the world, because excuse me, because then I've at least fired off an attack. I should be able to live a Diancie Moonblast at +1, so as long as I can get up a Calm Mind, then I should be Gucci against a Diancie, and I'll one-shot it. Even if he gets the special attack drop, I should be able to one-shot it with my investment. I'm running out of speed on here for Zapdos, so it's a really important speed that I outspeed the Zapdos, because then if it switches in, I can kill it, or at least get a big hit off with Scald, even if it's defensive. So, offensive, I mean, which wouldn't be bad against the Suicune Keldeo. It really wouldn't. That's the Keldeo set. It's pretty basic. It's just another Calm Mind Sweeper, and sort of getting it in place and sort of setting up with it is definitely one of the keys to this game. Clefable's next. I'm running in an Unaware Clefable. This was originally a very different Clefable set, actually. It was a Life Orb, Flamethrower, Moonblast, Soft Build Calm Mind set, and Specs King helped me out with this set and was like, hey, you should run this Cosmic Power set instead, and you should be Unaware just in case the Buzzwole gets out of hand. So I do agree with that. While I would love to be Magic Guard and then ignore Toxics and kind of just actually win the game with this, I don't absolutely need to. There's some mons that kind of get fucked a little bit by this set, mainly the Bronzong, and actually I was going to run no speed investment. I was going to run Relaxed with no speed investment. Yeah, there we go. So now Bronzong's Gyro Balls are doing less. I forgot to change that. But it's Stored Power, Cosmic Power, Calm Mind, Wish set. It's pretty solid. I would definitely rather be Magic Guard here, but I understand completely that I need to have the Unaware in place. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a difficulty if I'm Unaware to beat something like a Buzzwole anyways, because I've only got Stored Power. So I need to be set up to make this field work. There's definitely a lot of stuff I can set up on, though. Especially a Cosmic Power. Once I get a Cosmic Power going, it makes it a lot easier for me to set up Calm Minds and just sort of work that way. And there might be a point where I don't even need Calm Minds with how Stored Power works. I might only need to set up Cosmic Powers, so there's definitely a way around it there. I've been wanting to bring Clefable set like this the entire season, and he does not have a Dark type. Shiny Spam does not have a Dark type. I believe he is one of the first people to not have a Dark type. Actually, TB didn't have a Dark type in Week 1, but I wasn't a huge fan of Clefable against his Rachi team. And neither did, well, Nacho had Weavile, Specs had Crook, Nathan had Mandibuzz, Loco had Titar, Bill had Hoopa, Beery had Liepard, which didn't come anyways, David had Pangoro, and then last week, Lonely had Greninja. So it's really only TB and Shiny that I could pull this off against with no Dark types, and I think this is going to be a pretty solid set this week. Overall, I'm just really happy with how this set can go, and actually I should definitely be fully physically defensive. I just realized I should definitely be fully physically defensive because I have 2 ways to boost my Speed F, but only 1 way to boost my defense. So that's what's going on with Clefable. Last but not least, Reuniclus, another mon that is going to abuse no Dark types. Mono Psychic is really easy to pull off this week, and I'm running Psychic over Psyshock because Psychic is stronger. And I'm not threatened even slightly by the Bronzong. I should actually be relaxed on this as well. I'm not even threatened slightly by the Bronzong. The Gyro Ball is going to do absolutely dick all to this Reuniclus, especially after an Acid Armor. Main goal with the Reuniclus is to get Buzzwole out of the way. Buzzwole is the biggest problem for this Reuniclus. And if I can get it out of the way, then I can, or if I'm managed to set up 2 Acid Armors for some reason, I would love to set up 2 Acid Armors because then I'm sitting really pretty at +4 defense. Then the Buzzwole can't even break me with Leech Life. It's not even a question. The Buzzwole cannot break me with Leech Life unless he gets a crit, which is the same problem that this exact Reuniclus set had against Sohan in WPL. Is I got frozen into a crit, and that was a really that game. I'm still salty about that game. It's like almost 2 months later, and I'm still salty about that game. But this set can absolutely blow through him. Acid Armor, Calm Mind, just double dance Reuniclus, just shits on this whole team. It shits on it. He's got absolutely nothing for this. It sets up for free on Bronzong. It honestly sets up for free on Zapdos. Zapdos really cannot beat this. Magic Guard makes it so that I really don't give a fuck about Toxic from Alomomola or anything like that. I can set up on Donphan for free. I don't care if he gets rid of my leftovers. The passive recovery is definitely nice. It's there for a reason so that I can get up Acid Armors. But if I'm against the Donphan and he wants to knock off my leftovers, then I'm pretty sure that gives me 2 Acid Armors for free, which then means that Buzzwole cannot beat me. So, yeah, there's a lot going for this Reuniclus set, and again, the whole team is sort of built around supporting this Reuniclus, especially if I can get a Reflect up, then that means I need to get 1 Acid Armor up, and then I can start Calm Minding, and then get another Acid Armor up as the screen is about to end, or I could just get 3 Acid Armors up right off the bat, be completely unkillable with a Calm Mind afterwards, and work from there. Yeah, so that's the team. In terms of what I didn't bring, Garchomp. Garchomp actually had a solid matchup, especially a Z variant of Garchomp or a Scarf Chomp variant to outrun something like a Scarf Karen Black. I don't really think Scarf Karen Black is all that likely. I've got a pretty slow team, so I do think he would be Z. I'm not sure if he'd be Icy. I think it's more likely that he would be Electrium for my Suicune. Icy, like Z Freeze Shock, normally doesn't have all that many switch-ins. Problem for him being Suicune is an amazing switch into that, and I could use that very effectively. If I did bring Munchlax for whatever reason, Munchlax could eat that with a thick fat set potentially. I just don't necessarily see it being all that prevalent. I think Mega Diancie is going to be his biggest offensive win con. It outspeeds all of my threats, and that is definitely his way to win this game is Mega Diancie. And if the Buzzwole doesn't show up, I think I win at preview. If the Buzzwole doesn't show up, I'm fairly confident that this Reuniclus actually just wins then and there. So we'll sort of see. He doesn't have a Ghost type. He doesn't have a Dark type to beat Reuniclus. He might know that he's just extremely weak to that Pokemon, but he might not. So that's, yeah. Garchomp didn't come. Entei, Entei's another one that could have been very useful here. It definitely could have been useful as a Buzzwole answer and as a Bronzong answer. I'd love to set up on Bronzong though, so I don't care about that. Getting rid of Buzzwole, the job for getting rid of Buzzwole is all on Suicune, Clefable, and Keldeo this week. Or weakening it at the very least. Excuse me, to a point where I can... Or putting myself in a position where I can get Acid Armors up at the very least. Alolan Persian would have also been alright. Biggest problem being the Mega DNC. I would have wanted to run like Iron Tail for it, which is a really inaccurate move, because otherwise I can't Parting Shot around. And Parting Shot plus Screens was part of what I mentioned in my draft analysis about how I can enable my setup sweepers on this team with Parting Shot. It doesn't work this week, unfortunately. You know, if I could have found a way around beating that DNC right off the bat, and just sort of Parting Shot around a bunch of times, get some momentum, and get Reuniclus in, that would have been alright, but instead I'm just going to roll with the Screens by themselves this week. Munchlax, it's Shitmon. Honestly, I've had Munchlax twice. I had an NPL tryouts and now in red. I brought it last week because it was a Zard Y check. Ended up costing me the game because I misplayed and I got a shit Sleep Talk roll against the Crobat. So there's only so much you can do there. But yeah, that's what I didn't bring. Now, okay, let's talk about playoffs. I know this is a really long team builder, but I've got a lot that I wanted to discuss. I had a lot of points about the team. This is the most important team of our season up to this point, unless I go deep in playoffs or whatnot. Playoffs. So I'm currently sitting in the 5th seed. Everyone's played their 9 games, right? Currently sitting in the 5th seed. Evan has actually won his game, and he was in 6th seed. So, and actually, I'm just going to bring this over. I'll just bring this over to the other side here. And hopefully you guys can see this. Yeah, okay, so you can see the yellow... you can see the yellow scores there. The differential that's being covered right now doesn't matter all that much. I can kind of run through it for you guys. So, here I am in 5th seed, right? I can't really go higher than this 5th seed, but top 6 make playoffs. So, David's already clinched into a bye seed, so he's guaranteed a bye into semifinals. Beery lost to Evan this week, so he's 7-3. Actually, I believe he's 7-3 minus 3. He's actually 7-2 plus 1 on here, so it's crazy that he's got that many wins, but low differential. TB, I don't think has played his match yet. Let me just quickly double check, because it kind of matters a lot. TB replays. Specs and Nathan played, and that's it for this week so far, actually. So, yeah, Evan beat Beery. Specs beat Nathan. Specs cannot catch me, as you guys can maybe see. Yeah, so he's 4-5 minus 6. We have the head-to-head against him, and I'm 5-4 plus 6. So even if I get 6-0'd, he didn't actually 6-0, so he actually can't pass me differential at all. He won 4-0, I believe, so he's 4-5, or sorry, he's 5-4 minus, sorry, 5-5 minus 2, and so he's looking for a playoff spot. He actually needs me to lose. No, actually, you know what? Because Evan won, he can't. Because Evan won, Specs can no longer make playoffs, so he's actually fucked. Specs can't make playoffs, Nathan can't make playoffs. All of these people at the bottom here, they're all eliminated now. They're all eliminated, especially because Evan won. These 5 are all eliminated completely. Entirely eliminated. Cow beat us last week. There's a scenario for Cow and for Shiny, where if they beat me, they go ahead of me in the standings. Now, Cow's standing was not updated necessarily properly. I thought that he was 4-4, but he was actually sorry, he was actually 3-5 rather than 4-4 when we played him, so he moved up to 4-5 minus 3. If Shiny beats me 3-0 or higher, 4-0 or higher, if he beats me 4-0, excuse me, he would hit +1 and I would hit +2. So no, I can actually afford to lose. All right, this is interesting, right? Because I need to know the results of Lonely's game to sort of be able to work this out properly. Regenix actually told us that he is going to step down if he does make playoffs. He will not take the playoff spot, so that's what I'm not worried about. It's only Shiny and Lonely that I'm worried about now. I could pass Evan. You know, it doesn't really matter in terms of seeding at this point. There's definitely seeding I would prefer. I would definitely prefer to play TB in round 1. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get that option, but yeah, so I don't really have to beat Evan. I just need to fit into the top 6 seeds. So if Lonely loses, then all I have to do is pull 2 kills off of Shiny, and I will be in playoffs. If Lonely wins, then that's a different scenario. then there's some differential farming that has to go on. Unfortunately for me, I don't think I'm going to be able to get to see that. I play Shiny before Lonely's going to play his game, so it's really important for me to basically win. If I win, I'm guaranteed in. I would be I'd be 6-4 plus something. And I would actually have a shot at getting all the way up to the 3rd seed, depending on how TP's match goes this week and how Vic's match goes this week. But I would be locked out of I'm locked out of a bye spot. I can't get a semis bye. So that's sort of how it all breaks down. These two, the 8 and 9 seeds here, Shiny Spam and Lonely Cow, these are the most important people that we have to be above in record to make playoffs this season. I'm really hoping I can make playoffs, and yeah, so that's enough for me. That's honestly enough for me. I've talked for 25 minutes about this team. I will catch you guys for the match.